Do you want to improve at a quicker pace? Check out GitGUDRacing.com, where I'm offering the most accessible coaching sessions on the market. Now for the track guide. This isn't a perfect lap. It has some errors and I will point them out once we arrive to those errors. But starting with turn 1, the braking point for me is the second marker. I aim to brake slightly past it, but I'm definitely looking at the 2. So I'm applying the brakes at the 2, but I reach the peak slightly past it. And it's a heavy braking zone initially, followed by a large trail braking zone, because this is a long corner and you just want to stay glued to the right side. So while dropping the pressure, I aim to get that rotation and to apex as late as possible on this curb. So I don't want to meet the curb at the beginning here, I want to meet it later on. So I delay it almost to the end of the curb in which I'm apexing. And notice on the brakes that I had this long trail brake after the initial braking. So the initial braking is, the main purpose is to slow the car down, but then the second part of the brake, this one in the lower percentages, is to make the car turn. So think about 2 phases of braking. Well, the first one is slowing down, the second one is making the car turn. Now, when you're picking up the throttle, at least with a fixed setup, in these track conditions, a very hot track, in the fixed conditions, you can't be almost flat out here. So you have to manage your throttle because the rear is gonna slide. So what I'm doing is that I'm managing throttle. I peak to 100, and now in these corners, even though it's a corner that you don't brake, if you're trying to do it flat out, you will lose more time because the rear is gonna slide. So as soon as I take this corner, I do a small lift just for the car to be well balanced, and then I pick the throttle back again. So just a small lift. Now for the next sequence of corners, I don't take the shorter line, which is around this curb. I go a bit on a longer line so that I will have a better entry for the next corner, because I want to arrive close to this curb on the right and then to initiate the braking before the curb. So I'm braking slightly before the curb, like around here, and after I do this trail brake, I want to be back on throttle and cut as much as I can from this curb. So if you go close to this curb but not cut it, so almost going over the grass, you will lose a lot of time. So just go over it completely and balance the car with your throttle. In the end, you want to be at the grass here. So use all the track, even more than what I did. And you want to be as soon as you can on full throttle. So even before getting on the curb, you should be at 100% throttle with your inputs. For the next corner, I'm aligning myself with a white line here. So I'm trying to open up as much as possible. I'm applying the brakes slightly after the curb. So whenever I go off the curb, I just go a few meters forward and then applying the brakes. Downshifting to second and trail braking. And again, you want to cut this curb as much as possible, almost going over the grass like this. Because ideally you want your car to be more in the center of the track, not on the right side. So right now for me, I would say this isn't perfect. Like I'm turning from this angle. Ideally you will be a bit more to the center, because right now I have to do this lift and brake, just a small lift and brake, and then to pick up the throttle. You want to carry a bit more speed through this corner, because this leads to a huge straight. So it's important while taking this corner to apex a bit later, so to turn in a bit later and stay on brakes more. So this was a bit of an earlier throttle application. Go on throttle around here, starting to go on throttle, and be more in the center of the track. This will help you a lot. So what I'm doing here is not perfect, don't try to do it. Try to be more to the left and you see you're gonna gain a bit. Now, after we took this corner, we just want to open up the next one, because this is as important as the one before. we want to keep the momentum going, and we need to use this curb on the left side. So put your tire on it and turn from this part of the track. So if you're gonna align yourself with the concrete and not with the curb, you will lose a lot of time. So using all the track and balancing with the throttle, you should aim to be as close as you can to 100% throttle. So right now I'm reaching 100% here. Then I'm doing a small lift to 60, 80, keeping the lift, and then right now I'm flat. If you will have here a drop in throttle more than this, you will lose a lot of time because it's a huge straight. So the whole focus right now for you is to be on throttle as much as possible, to stay as close as you can to 100%. And notice that I'm cutting here almost to the grass and here as well. Now this whole section is flat up until this part. So when you're going uphill, the car will tend to go to the left. Like right now, the car is going left by default. So you will have to fight it a lot to align yourself with this white line here, because you want to take this corner with your car being close to the white line, close to the grass. For braking in this part, I found that braking earlier than you think it's gonna be better, especially with the setup. So as soon as I start to see the road, because right now it's a crest, you can't see forward, but when I start to see and the road is more straight, I'm applying the brakes. This is my reference for braking, and I try to apex as early as possible and use as much as of the curb. So look, I take an early apex, I almost get at the beginning of the curb, and I'm using all the curb. This will push my car wide to the exit road. And then for this corner, I was under the limit of grip. I think I took it way too cautiously. I'm braking before the 2. I would advise on trying to brake at the 2, like around here to start the braking, because you will carry a bit more speed. In this corner, it's all about rolling the car into the corner, throwing it into the corner and moving the momentum. So I'm apexing around this curb, that's my first reference, while straight braking, so you still have to be on brakes through the whole point. But then I don't use this exit road on the left side. Your car should be pushed more to this curb and then turn. Think about it in 3 phases, where the first phase is getting close to this curb, the second phase is getting close to the curb on the left side, and the third phase is cutting this curb right here and using the exit. In my case, I missed the second phase just because I braked way too early. So because I had less speed, my car didn't get pushed that much onto the left. So carry a bit more speed than that, use this curb on the left as a reference, and then balance the car with the throttle, use all this exit, and as early as you can be on 100% throttle, the more you're gonna gain. So this is a bit too late to be on 100% throttle. Ideally, you would be on 100% around here. Like right now, it should be 100% from this part. But for me, it took a blink of an eye more, which translate to 2/10, I would argue. Now, for the next corner, a small mistake again. So what you want to do is to brake while you're going uphill. So don't brake on a straight line here, brake diagonally into the corner, like going uphill, trying to aim at this curb and then applying the brakes. But you should take a line more to the left. Like right now I'm going straight to this curb, and while it gains me a bit on entry, it loses me a bit on exit because I have this shallow line. What I would suggest is doing a line like this, so you're braking still to the curb, but right now, instead of pointing the wheel straight, keep a bit of angle to the left, so that you will be more to the white line. You don't have to be close to the white line, but a bit more closer to it than that, and then brake into the next corner from a better angle. After you take this corner, your whole focus should be on being on 100% throttle as early as you can. But one last point that I want to mention, notice how my braking changes. accordingly to the way that we have this dip and this crest. So I'm braking hard initially, then when I'm going up the hill I'm dropping the brakes because I have less grip here because it's a crest. But then when the roads start to straighten up, I'm applying more of the brakes and then I'm trailing. So your braking shape should look like more brakes, more brakes, and then less brakes again. Reaching 100% throttle and staying on 100% throttle, notice this small lift, you shouldn't do it. For the next corner, you just want to apex late and use a lot of this curb. So don't apex at the beginning of the curb, try in your mind to apex at the middle of it, like right here. And then I'm braking slightly before touching the curb, so just a moment before touching the curb, just a small brake to balance the car. And then I'm pushing the car into this corner, balancing it with the throttle, arriving at 100% as soon as possible while using all the exit. And in short, that's a track guide for Virginia. I hope you have a great week ahead, and I'll see you on the next one.